Hey everyone, and welcome back to the TheDubaiExpat YouTube channel. I hope you're all well and I'm happy to see you back in a new video. So today guys, we follow up on my first question and answer video with part 2, and I will answer the last questions. Do you think there are relatively more Rolex stocks and models in Dubai ADs compared to other countries? So overall I think yes, there are more Rolex watches available at the stores here, but all of the available watches are very small diameters with gold and diamonds. So you must consider there are maybe 10 to 12 Rolex stores in Dubai. So the density of stores is very high compared to other cities. I mean, I know some major cities and often there are maybe 2, maybe maximum sometimes 3 Rolex stores, and yeah, in Dubai we have 12 stores. So that's of course a very high amount. If we speak about hot watches, the picture is different. I have the feeling it is way more difficult to get any hot watches over here, as the whole watch game is way more professionalized. As said, we have around 12 stores, but they all belong to one authorized dealer. So of course they are all working together, and for example, if you can't find, let's say, a two-tone Sky Dweller in the store in Dubai Mall, there will probably be a very high chance, let's say 99%, you will also not find it in any other store. But I guess the head office of course is steering the allocations by numbers. So the more you spend, the quicker you will get your watch. It's as easy as that. How many Rolex watches does one need? When do watch people say enough is enough? So basically, of course, no one needs a Rolex, and that's why you also can't be too angry about the methods maybe some ADs might be practicing. So I mean, again, it's just normal in most of the businesses that companies prefer clients who are spending a lot with them, as those are there some kind of VIP and engaged customers. But of course companies also have to take care to always get enough fresh blood into the cycle. So yeah, there's a mixture, let's say it, of engaged and VIP customers and new fresh customers you want to get into the business. But besides that, of course, there may be a few AD stores globally that are doing really bad practices with forcing to buy bundles and selling a lot to grey market dealers or directly to flippers with premium. And I can actually tell you that that is definitely going on outside there. I also had some experiences, but maybe more to that in a separate video. So yeah, and of course you can't be as angry on those people as you could be if, for example, a supermarket would start to sell water to their VIP customers and not to everyone anymore. And yeah, that would be of course a complete different story. And yeah, as we are speaking about luxury items, no one basically has a need for them, and we all could live happily together without a single Rolex watch. But in the context of a watch collector, of course you could also say there are lots of other beautiful brands there that even maybe deliver better watches, whatever. But I think as a watch collector you should have at least one Rolex watch, as the brand is just mighty, the watches deliver a lot of watch for the money, are very well executed, and yeah, so I think every watch collection should have at least one Rolex. When do watch people say enough is enough? I don't know, basically, or maybe never. As companies will always produce cool watches for the future, there probably won't be any stagnation, even though that would be the industry where I see they could be really relaxed on innovating things. And yeah, but still there will always be something cool, and maybe it's just a new color, whatever. I mean, nowadays people are going crazy if Tudor releases a blue Black Bay 58 and think this is like the holy grail that has been launched now. Yeah, but I mean, anyway, besides that, definitely there will always be something cool you probably want, and that's what collecting is probably also about. So yeah, I guess it will maybe never stop. Which country are you from? I am born and raised in Germany, and my whole family is German as well. Source of income we had in the first part. Why do you come in this field of watches? As said, I like the thrill of the hunt and owning high quality, long lasting items. Why don't you buy a Breitling? So actually I'm a long time fan of Breitling, and I grew up always seeing my dad wearing his Navi timer, and when the time came for my first watch purchase, of course Breitling was on the list. I think actually at that time the Navi timer was over my budget, and then I found the Breitling Premier Day Date and put that on the list. Yeah, but when I then checked it out in person, I was super disappointed. I don't know, it just felt like it's not worth the money I would spend for it, and then I decided to get the Rolex Explorer instead. And yeah, luckily this was the best decision I could have made at that time. And yeah, even though the Explorer was a lot more expensive, I felt when I hold it in my hand the value for money is right. And with the Breitling I haven't had the feeling. So yeah, that's the reason. For me, usually Breitling watches feel like they are too expensive, but if they would bring out, let's say, a Navi timer in 40mm with an in-house movement, and maybe either a nice leather strap or on a nice bracelet, make it a little bit thinner that I could also wear it on my 6.5 inch wrist, and put, as said, an in-house movement inside, and bring the whole package at around $5,000 to $6,000, then I would probably change my mind, and I could imagine me grabbing one. What do you think about the 16570 Polar dial? I think it's okay. I can understand if people love it, I can understand if people hate it. For me, the dial alone looks great. I actually really like the GMT hand and the white color and the markers and so on. But what I hate is the aluminium bezel with the 24-hour numerals, I don't know, painted on them or so. Yeah, I don't know, this is just not for me, and I think overall the watch could look a lot cooler if they would put like a black ceramic bezel on it, and yeah, make the new version, let's say 40mm again, would be a lot cooler. Which car do you drive, car or watch? So in most videos you saw my company car, which is a Honda Accord, quite an old one, and my private car is a BMW M2. If I have to choose watch or car, I think I would definitely take the watch. The hunting and community about watches is, for me at least currently, so much fun, and it is always on your wrist if you want, so you always have it with you, while most of the time, of course, your car will be standing in the garage without using it. So I would say the overall time you can spend with your watch is a lot higher than the time you can spend with your car, and that's why I would take the watch. And let's say in that context I would take, let's say, a cheaper car and one luxurious watch, instead of taking an expensive car and a cheap watch. How much should you earn to afford a Rolex? That of course depends on the individual situation, liabilities, family responsibilities, and so on and so on. So if you can put enough money aside to fulfill your dream without hurting any other important commitment, and you also have peace of mind buying that piece, then you earn enough, I would guess. So yeah, basically, if you don't have a bad feeling buying the watch, keep it, and in the worst case lose 100% of its value, then you earn enough. Rolex or Omega? Sorry to the Omega family, but I'm a 100% Rolex, maybe some would call it already a fanboy. I don't know why. I think because basically the whole portfolio of Rolex looks great. I love the Datejust, even the Cellini watches look great. But again, I'm not a dress watch guy yet, so that's why I probably don't have one. And yeah, then of course the sports models, most of them also look great. And there are actually, I think, not so many other brands I could say this about, that basically the whole portfolio looks amazing. Then in addition, I mean, yeah, Rolex is just the coolest brand you can buy from a watch. Everyone globally knows Rolex. It's like a second currency already, and especially to the pop culture, I think Rolex is just an incredible brand. And yeah, that's what I like so much about Rolex. How can I get a Rolex Pepsi Jubilee? So you could basically pick one up right away on Chrono24 for a premium, as there are probably hundreds available. To get one from an AD, you have to build a relationship, and I think that is not a quick one. And you definitely, how should I say, maybe not convince them, or maybe convince them that you're like not a flipper and you want to keep the watch for yourself and you buy it for yourself. Yeah, I mean that's definitely, I would say, a requirement. And the second option would probably to spend a ton of money, so they want to keep you as a happy client. And of course then you will probably sooner or later get also a Pepsi. What do you like besides watches? So my other passion are mountain bikes. I like riding downhill and enduro mountain bike, as said. And yeah, earlier, so when I started with mountain biking, I also enjoyed other disciplines like cross country or even road bike. But now, unfortunately, my time is not enough to do all those kinds of different bicycle disciplines. So usually when I go out, I do downhill or enduro riding. Datejust 36 or Datejust 41, depends on your wrist size. If your wrist is bigger than 6.5 inch, go for the 41mm. If it is smaller, go for the 36mm. If your wrist is the same like mine and exactly at 6.5 inch, I think you could go for both versions. In that case, maybe take the 36mm if you go for a version that pops more, like a two-tone champagne dial or maybe a white dial or whatever, and go for the 41mm if it's a more dark dial, like a blue dial, black dial, maybe even a rhodium dial or so. I think these dials make the watch appear a little bit smaller. And then, for example, I have the 36mm blue dial and that looks already quite small. But I guess if it would have let's say a silver dial or so, it looks amazing. So yeah, that would be my advice. What is your take on the Omega price increase? Do you see potential in increasing prices to compete with Rolex more directly? I think the price increase is justified, as the Speedmaster was and still is, compared to competitors, a crazy bargain. Will they compete directly with Rolex? I don't think so. I mean, Rolex is still more for the people who want to have like the ultimate luxury watch and statement piece, whereas I could see Omega could be more for, let's say, the watch connoisseurs and the collectors who care a lot about the history and maybe don't even want to have such a strong brand. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I definitely see that they have different target groups, and I couldn't imagine Omega taking the spot of Rolex, but I know there are also some theories that Omega, if they push a lot now, that they could maybe be a threat to Rolex. Yeah, but I think Omega should better secure the spot they had before, keep a good availability. I guess that's more important for the long run than trying to play the Rolex game. Which is only Rolex you would buy for next generations to come? I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly, but I think any watch you buy could be one you pass on to next generations. It depends on what you experienced with the watch, how long you kept it, and how much you loved it. A watch with a story is definitely more valuable than any other piece you could hand over to your beloved ones. Why don't you cover a watch brand Karl F. Bucherer Patravi? Won't be a bad idea to compare it with a sub. So actually I wasn't even aware of the brand, but they definitely have some great looking watches. Comparison would be of course a cool video, but unfortunately I don't know how to get my hands on one. So if anyone has one or other interesting timepieces in Dubai, I'm more than happy to cover them in a video. So just send me an email if you have a cool, interesting watch for a review, and I would be more than happy to do it. Do you visit Holy Trinity boutiques? What watches do you have to offer? So I just recently made a video about my first visit at the Patek Philippe boutique, and I'm sure I will cover more brands. And also I have been a few times already at the Vacheron Constantin store, and yeah, I also checked out recently the A. Lange and Söhne store. So just stay tuned and also check out my older videos, but there will definitely be content coming or is already on my channel about those Holy Trinity boutiques. And yeah, with that guys, we covered all the questions you wrote me to my first question and answer video. It was great fun, so hopefully we can make another one in a few months maybe. And until then, stay tuned, stay healthy, thank you for watching, and bye bye.
Sorry?
Is it playing?